So one of the most interesting things happening this offseason with the Cleveland Browns is the quarterback position. Shocker, we're talking about quarterbacks in Cleveland. Who knew? And the kind of battle that's going on between Deshaun Watson and second-year quarterback Shedeur Sanders, and trying to figure out who's going to be the guy. Now, spoiler alert, it's probably going to be Deshaun Watson because of, I don't know. I mean, we can look at a lot of things here statistically, but we can look at maybe the $44.9 million cap hit that Watson has. I mean, just throwing it out there, could be a case there, the two, that he might be playing, at least starting the season at least. And thankfully, he has his final year left. He's an unrestricted free agent in 2027 after this year, and he has 4 void years, unfortunately for Browns fans, but hallelujah, he'll be gone after the season. The despair, the depressing, dark times for the Browns. You know, it's been happening before Watson's gone there. The worst trade in history, feels like the worst contract certainly in history for Deshaun Watson is finally over. And we can finally move on with our lives. Whoever it's going to be with Watson or whoever it might be going to 2027 in the draft, depending on how high draft pick they have, they can maybe draft Manning, Moore, whoever may be available at that point for them. But getting back to, I don't know, I clicked on MBA there. Getting back to the roster here for the quarterback position. Like I said, I do expect Deshaun Watson to be a quarterback to start off with, because of the contract. And you look, and I do have that pause, and not saying he's going to be fully the guy this year because of just injury history. You look at what he's been unable to do in his career with the Browns is just stay healthy and be on the field. He's played a minimum basically of 6 or 7 games a year. He missed all of 2025 due to his setback from his injury back in 2024. So history does not show you too kindly that he's going to be staying healthy. I mean, you look at his last 3 years prior to Cleveland, he's been relatively available. 16 games, 15 games, 16 games. He did get hurt early in his rookie season. It was a torn ACL he had against Seattle in his rookie year back in 2017. Ever since then, was healthy the last 3 years of his tenure with the Texans, unable to do so with the Browns. But now they added, done wonders to it. They added the bulk stuff to bulk of the offensive line, especially first-round pick Spencer Fano on the tackle position as well. You do have Dwan Jones, whoever is going to happen with him as well. You have Titus Howard on the right tackle as well, first-round pick too. Interior is still a question mark. You lost one of your prominent names, especially on Wyatt Taylor. But certainly you have some young talent that got more so going with Fano. And also, too, with these skill positions, especially the wide receivers, which I love what they did. I think they had a great draft this past year, which might be wild to say, was adding the wide receivers. You already had Jerry Jeudy, which was, to me, never a true number 1 wide receiver, even though he did have a career high back in 2024. And breaking out his stats here real quick when we get to it, I felt like you need to still add more pieces to it. It can't just be him. He's not going to be able to replicate what he did back in 2024. And showing that was the case here, he had a big drop off in 2025. He had basically half of the receiving yards, half the touchdowns. Targets went down from 145 to 106, and receptions went down by 40, going from 90 to 15. He did play the full seasons in his time with the Browns there too, with 17 games. Now again, you can look at the quarterback position as well with Shedeur Sanders, with Dylan Gabriel, with Joe Flacco at one point playing there too as well. It just wasn't a good thing for Jeudy. But again, not the biggest Jerry Jeudy fan to begin with, but certainly I mentioned he needs to have someone alongside him. What did they do in the first 2 rounds there? They added weapons for whoever the quarterback's going to be. They go in the first round. They get Casey Concepcion, who I did like, and that was someone that I thought the Bills were going to get, and we're targeting potentially, but the Browns swoop him before he gets to the Bills at that point there too. The only concern with him really going into the NFL was just, in the process I should say, was just his drops he's had, but he's a very shifty player, very elusive, very explosive when he has the ball in his hands. You look at a lot of highlights, it's more quick, short passes or catches that he gets. And that was something that I thought that was perfect for the Bills in the scheme with Joe Brady. He goes to the Browns there at 2 with Todd Monken, and he's had experience with a great quarterback play there too, and has done a great job playing, calling offensive plays for Lamar Jackson, having him win the MVP, having him the opportunity to win another MVP because they got stolen from Josh Allen, but did have a great time in his tenure with Baltimore. And now he has more weapons to play around with here with Casey Concepcion. And in the second round here, he goes with Denzel Boston, who gives you a different size physically, at least, going to 6'4", 209. Someone else that can also stretch the field as well. So you look at the trio that they have for Deshaun Watson. Well, I think he could, dare I say, shock some people this year. I'm not going to say he's going to be elite. I'm not going to say he's going to be amazing. The Browns are going to be playoff caliber. But I think he will surprise some people. I really do. I'm going to kind of put that on the limb. It might be wild to say. We can look back as the weeks go on in the regular season and say this is a horrible take by my part. And of course, I've had plenty of horrible takes as well. Some good ones, of course. We hit some good shots, but unfortunately not 100%. So this could be a bad take as well on my part here. But I think Deshaun Watson will surprise some people. Again, I'm not saying anything elite. I'm not saying anything amazing, but certainly should be much better than what he's been in prior years, which is, that's not saying much. The bar is already low enough for him, so it shouldn't be that difficult to surpass that. But I think he will surprise the people in this one, and me kind of fend off Shedeur Sanders there. I say, even though Monken has given some praise to Sanders and he's progressed well in his second year, in his second offseason in the NFL with the Cleveland Browns. But for Watson, he's a veteran. He still has prior experience of success, even though it feels like it's centuries ago. It feels like in terms for the Cleveland Browns and what he's done since leaving the Texans. But this is a great roster offensively. It's, again, a lot of young talents. And also, too, how can I not forget about Arnold Fannin Jr., who had a great season in his rookie year with the Cleveland Browns there, and a nice replacement to David Njoku for them. 731 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns, 107 targets, 72 receptions as well. Was the outside of Judy, one of the most targeted players on the roster last year. So you look at what he's done there in his rookie year and what he can build off of there. And of course, like I said just a second ago, Njoku no longer being on the roster, a long tenured Brown there too. Back in, he come out of 2018, the draft. Now we have a new face at that position too. So it's a lot of young talent, untapped potential, especially with Concepcion and Boston. The biggest question mark certainly is the running back position because of Junkins not being back yet. And I have not heard any updates about his status and when he's going to come back. It's only safe to say he's going to miss a good amount of time this upcoming season after being hurt late and having a bad injury against the Bills late in the season in 2025 there. He's going to miss some time. I think it's pretty safe to say that. If he is fully healthy, they might want to be safe with him and cautious and keep him out for some games. So until he comes back, that certainly is a big question mark. You have Dylan Sampson, you have Raheem Sanders, and not that impressive to say the least there. Maybe they add someone else when we get to closer to training camp. Maybe someone's available, they want to sign someone, or once the preseason is over with, maybe they sign someone that gets cut shockingly, or someone that you're a little surprised about that is let go. Maybe they go that route there as a bridge gap until Quinton Junkins comes back. But until then, it's going to be a question mark. So when he comes back, he's not going to be fully 100%, fully ready to go like he did his rookie year. Much better upgrade than anyone else. But with that too, again, a lot of untapped potential, but great at what they did there. And this is a team that, dare I say, for the Browns, the very few times you can say for this regime, did well. They bolstered the offensive line a little bit. They got Watson or Shedeur Sanders, whoever the quarterback's going to be, a lot of help. They're going to certainly get hit. They're going to hit the rookie wall, quote unquote, with that too, and struggle at times. But there is a lot of talent on the side too, and I love the investment for the Browns to go in there and double dip at the wide receiver position, because that was a big need, and it's something that teams often don't really do. Even if that is something that should be done, it just seems redundant. Why would you take another wide receiver when you just took one in the first round? If it's that glaring of a need, then absolutely you should take another wide receiver, and they did that. You also have two on the back end as well, looking past the big three, quote unquote, for the wide receivers. You have Cedric Tillman, who's just been very disappointing, to say at least, in his career there too. I don't know where he's going to fit as well. You have undrafted rookie last year, Isaiah Bonds, who fell in draft there when, of course, he made the infamous thing about he was going to do well at the 40-yard dash, to not do so, had some off-the-field issues too that dropped him out of the first round, and didn't really have that great of a performance last year. I mean, look at 18 receptions, 338, 0 touchdowns, but certainly a very cheap contract, so low risk, very high reward, and that side of things. And we also want to look at Cedric Tillman, just not being able to do anything. A third-round pick back in 2023 has given you really nothing, to say at least, in his career thus far, averaging between 200 to 300 yards receiving, and only has 5 touchdowns in his career there in 3 seasons with the Browns, and not playing a full season with them. 14 games in 23, 11 games 24, 13 in 2025. And especially for a roster that has been desperate for wide receiver help these last few years, speaks a lot about if he couldn't make it and he couldn't carve a role on this offense that needs that help at that position. It says a lot about him, or lack of, for his skill set, for at least for the Browns' sake. I mean, you can maybe go certainly as far as just NFL wise, but maybe the Browns is a big issue for him just being there. But certainly you have those guys and depth as well for Tillman and Bond on top of that too. So you do have some untapped potential with those guys as well. Again, Tillman has been in the league for now going into his 4th year. Maybe things open up for him for a new head coach in Monken. But I do think Deshaun Watson will surprise some people. And even if it's the worst case scenario and Sanders does step in at some point too, this is a great opportunity for him to prove himself. Now, it may not be enough to save his job and his career in Cleveland, because again, regardless if they have a high draft pick, the safe bet and the most logical move to go with is draft a quarterback. If you're that high enough, if you have a top 3 pick there, even say you have the first overall pick, I don't think it'd be that bad. But I think they'll have certainly a high pick there too, and depending on who comes up along with Manning in that draft class and whoever you want to put in there as well. If it is available and they do like him, the logical option is going to be, let's wipe our hands. I'm not loyal. I'm not loyal to Watson. I'm not loyal to Sanders or Dylan Gabriel. Even though I did draft or was part of drafting Talon Green, you can't really expect too much from him. So at least the 3 guys ahead of them, you're not loyal to them. And it's probably, again, pretty logical to say they're going to wipe their hands clean and start fresh with a new quarterback if they are in a position to do so in that one. So sure, Sanders can maybe give an audition at least to the rest of the NFL world and say, hey, I'm a capable quarterback. I can still play. It's not just because my name that I got drafted by. I can be a productive quarterback in the league here. Maybe it buys him a chance somewhere else. Now, there's not really that many opportunities open for him, so Cleveland really feels like one of the few opportunities for him to succeed, but maybe he can showcase everyone, and it dare say maybe potentially opens the door down the line for somebody. Again, I don't think someone's going to take him seriously in being a franchise quarterback, but at least maybe for the Browns there, if they do decently and they're in a position where if he plays a fair amount of the season and they're not in a position of drafting a high quarterback, that maybe it's enough to convince them, and the praise that Munkins gave him a few days ago about how well he's progressed. Maybe this is an opportunity for him to win the job, and at least for another year show why he's the franchise quarterback. But again, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out for the quarterback position for Watson or Sanders. I think either way, both quarterbacks are set up to do well in their starting jobs, or whoever's going to start when, because of just a lot of talent they brought in here in the offseason too. Again, I cannot rave enough of how well they did in the wide receiver position early on with Concepcion and Boston. I love the double dipping in the position there too. You still have a solid, productive wide receiver, Jerry Jeudy. Fannin Jr. had a great rookie season. You hope you can build off of that and be consistent with that as well. So it's another great option too on top of that, as well as the offensive line. So again, there you add a great piece in Fannin on the left tackle position. Again, we'll see what happens with DeJuan Jones if he's sold that. Maybe it's trade bait if it comes down to that point there too. We'll see what happens with that too. With that, if it down the stretch there, when we get closer to the preseason, or during the preseason, I should say. And defensively, there's not too much I can say. I mean, unfortunately, Jeremiah, with his injuries, just having setbacks with that, it's unfortunate for the linebacker position. I'm not even going to pronounce his rest of the name because I'm already infamous for countless players I butchered for their last name. So we're going to stick with Jeremiah for that too, make it a little bit simple there. The linebacker I believe out of Notre Dame when he came out of in college. But you do have some good pieces there, of course. First and foremost, Myles Garrett. You have Carson as well at the linebacker position. You have Denzel Ward, one of the better cornerbacks in the league there. Who else do we have? I mean, there are players. I might just having just being brain dead at this point and missing somebody. But you do have some good pieces there as well. Unfortunately, not having Schwartz as defensive coordinator. No surprise, a guy that was kind of led on to be the head coach, quote unquote, and then kind of lied to him like, hey, do you want to come back to be the defense coordinator? Not surprised it didn't work out that way for that one. So, but again, they still have a prominent defense. We'll see what happens with that side of things too. With Mike Runberg, who replaced, of course, Jim Schwartz back in February. So we'll see what happens with his side of things. I mean, Schwartz did well with the defensive with the defense when he was there for a few seasons. So we'll see what happens with Runberg and what he does that side. But again, there's still plenty of talent to succeed and do well. I mean, will it be elite? I don't know, but certainly good enough to get by in that side of things. I think just the biggest thing is just offensively, and they really addressed that, and they did a great job. We'll see how it pans out on the field. Everything looks good on paper until it's actually in live action, how it pans out there. So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully it's not just another typical Brown season, and actually gives some fans some optimism and some excitement for this year too. But again, either for the quarterback battle, I'm going to stick with Deshaun Watson. Again, for what I just keep saying, first and foremost, just because of just the money and as well as the prior experience, even though he's had no experience or success, I should say, even though he's had not that much success at all with Cleveland, but does have that success on his resume years and years ago, but does have that on his resume as opposed to Shedeur Sanders. But yeah, I think either way, it's going to be a good opportunity for Sanders as well. If it does get to that bad case, the worst case scenario where Watson does get hurt again or does not play well, and they go to Sanders here, I think he will surprise some people and certainly show people that, hey, I am certainly a competent quarterback in the league here. It's not because of my name. I can actually do it here. I can ball out and be that guy. So again, this is a team I'm very interested to watch in 2026. Well, of course, my team, of course, more so paying attention on my team, but certainly, as a side eye in the background, I'm very interested to see what the Browns do this season. It's a tough schedule. I mean, say at least here it is. When you look down the stretch here, you got some easier ones for them, I should say, like the Jets, of course. We'll see what happens with that with Aaron Glenn. Tennessee, we'll see what happens with Cam Warren in the second year, and also with Robert Saleh and the rest of the pieces that have fallen there too, as well. You look at New Orleans there. We'll see what happens in the quarterback position too. That's certainly up in the air with Tyler Show. As Vegas have some prominent pieces, but again, rookie quarterback from Mendoza. We have what else? Maybe dare I say Cincinnati, just because of the skeleton crew they have on the defensive side. It feels like too, especially with Trey Hendrickson no longer being there and going to Baltimore. That could maybe just the offensive battle, but Cincinnati's probably going to pull out that way. I mean, there's no question Cincinnati is going to put up big numbers offensively. Just defensively, I just know what they're going to do. Again, it's there's bare bones on that side. So again, it might be a shootout there, but I do feel confident in Cincinnati will pull it through in both matches there. But there is some opportunity for Browns fans, for the Browns team to get some wins here. Dare say maybe steal one, a time or two for this one. Carolina could be a spot there as well. Tampa, maybe you have to pay out things to look at two on top of that. So again, there's some opportunity here for the Browns. I'm not predicting playoffs or anything like that, but at least some optimism moving forward, at least in Monken's first season with the Browns, to give some excitement for the fans there. I'm very interested to see what Watson and Shedeur Sanders do. Let me know your thoughts down below on what I said. Are you excited for Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, Dillon Gabriel if it gets to that point? Let me know your thoughts down below on the quarterback battle there too, how it's going to play out, as well as whoever starts, how they're going to do there, as well too on top of that, the Browns season, how you think it's going to go well in Monken's first year.